Good evening, everyone. Hi, Joe. How was your day? Joe, I think, well, okay,
Sorry about
so,
that. No, I'm still here.
um, okay, yeah, I was wondering, I thought you disappeared. I was just,
I
gonna
had
get
my
right to
mic
it.
muted.
So,
Yeah, I had my mic muted.
oh,
But how are you
okay,
doing,
okay.
Mr. W?
I'm good. I de-Halloweened my house, you
That
know,
was quick.
just took all the Halloween stuff, down. And, now I'm getting ready for, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all, the rest.
All the
Hi,
good stuff.
Patriot Core. Good evening to you. So, yeah, what do you think about the lovely couple?
They are lovely. I kind of like this couple. One of the more interesting
Yeah,
couples we've done. So
they really are. When most of us are prepping for food shortages, I mean, this couple was prepped. I mean, pickled human meat in the fridge. Just like, yeah, their freezer was full. They didn't. Yeah, they were really prepared, and they're also the reason this couple is like why I don't like potlucks. And by the way, if you're ever in Russia, you might not want to eat from like restaurants and stuff because apparently this is like there's supposedly there's like more that this couple was actually hiding something much bigger, but we'll see. So I'm just gonna say this is they're called the cannibal couple. Some people call it the cannibal family. It's Dimitri and Natalia Baksheeva. And this story, it's about, I mean, obviously a couple from Russia, and they've been, dubbed the cannibal couple, but they've also been referred to as the cannibal family, like I said, but it's like there just may have been more people involved. We're not really sure, but we'll see what you think. Not everyone thinks that they could have possibly killed and eaten 30 people by themselves without, having been caught for such a long time. Well, maybe not, but so Dimitri, he was born in 1982 and he was placed in an orphanage not long after. And it was said like his birth mother, like she wasn't able to take care of him. So she didn't want to give him away, but she didn't really have many options, or at least she didn't feel like she had options. And he was 3 years old when he was adopted by a married couple. I think her name was Svetlana and Vladimir. So yeah, cool parents, because he's like named after Dracula. So Vladimir. But Dimitri, he loved animals, and you know, other than that, he was just like a loner. So I guess he preferred animals to people. And growing up, he was mostly like, he played alone instead of with the other kids. And when he was 15, his adoptive mother, she was diagnosed with cancer, and so she died really soon after that. And after this, like Dimitri's father, he just became really violent towards him, and eventually he kicked him, he just kicked him out of the house. And he told him, like that he wasn't wanted, not to come back, and he was just really mean. But like he actually gave him bread. Like kidding. I'm not kidding. Like it's like he gave him bread basically, and it's like so here's some sustenance. It's like what a way to show you care. But I'm not sure if it was like a loaf or a piece of bread, but just bread is all I know. And but Dimitri did what he had to do, and he would sleep at a neighbor's house, or he'd basically sleep anywhere, and he would sometimes end up on the street. And Patriot Corps, yes, they had a really big freezer.
and a stove.
Yeah. Yes. And jars. They were a fan of ball mason jars,
Yeah,
according to an article I read.
they were big canners. So if you know how to can stuff, they were into
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah. Well, if you're looking for, an alternative to meat, and you don't want to eat animals because you love animals, there's always people. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. That's
Well,
gross.
yeah, it's way
Um,
cheaper to eat your neighbors. So,
yes. So Dimitri, though, like, I mean, he tried to find work, but it wasn't immediate. So he, what are you gonna do? He robbed a store, stole a car, but he didn't get very far before being arrested, and he did go to prison. Like, while he was in prison, no one ever came to see him. Not even his adoptive father came to see him, which, so he really had no one. He served his time, but when he got released, he did find a construction job, and it paid pretty well. Like, so he got a place to stay, and things really started to look up for him. And his social life, it wasn't the best since he didn't have any real friends. He had never had a girlfriend, so like I said, he was still a loner. But his coworkers, or basically anybody that interacted with him, they would say that he was filthy and, like, just really dirty.
Melly.
And yeah, and he had like a horrible odor. I mean, I'm kind of seeing why he didn't have any friends. I mean,
Well, as we know from earlier cases we did, usually that's a sign that they're trying to keep people away. So he probably had some type of schizoaffective disorder or something like that.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was said that he liked to hang around local bars, and he would talk to, like, the weirdest people he could find, like, most anyone, I guess, that he radiated to, they just had their own issues.
So I would
And
be his friend at the bar.
oh, we would
You think
totally be
Grandpa
his buddies. Yeah. We'd be like, we would definitely, he would seek us out because we're weird, so yeah, Dimitri, yeah, he'd be our bud. But he rarely drank himself, but he liked hanging out with people that drank a lot. And that's kind of unusual, because usually if somebody drinks, they like to drink with other people. Like, it's, I mean, right, Joe? I mean,
Yeah, that's kind of odd, that he would hang out with people that are chronic alcoholics and he didn't drink. So,
yeah. I don't, did you find out anything about his past? I don't know if his parents or his adoptive parents drank or not, but maybe being around drunks made him feel more at home. I
uh,
don't know.
I think his father did drink, but you know how a lot of these reports they're translated from Russian to English and it doesn't translate well, so you don't really the sentences are all messed up, so you don't know exactly what's going on. But I do believe that the adoptive father was a drinker.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say. But, everyone just thought it was super weird. And he was trying to have a social life. So, you know, I don't know. I guess maybe, like, when people are drinking, they're less judgmental, or, maybe he
Your
liked
sense of
hanging around.
smell.
He might have liked hanging around vulnerable people. Have you thought about that? Like, because you're pretty vulnerable when you're drunk at a bar around strangers, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's one thing, and I think in a bar it kind of stinks. It smells like cigarettes and stuff like that.
yes.
So,
It's like
I-
his body odor was hidden. So,
right, right.
yeah. Yeah. Well, he blended right in because he apparently had an aversion to soap.
Yeah, what
Um,
plus we're talking about Russia, which that's a different culture. Here, in America, we are known to take way too many baths and showers. So
yeah, that would be me. I love that.
yeah,
Um, okay, so one night at a bar, where this is like where he met Natalia, and she was born in southern Russia, like Dimitri, and she was born in 1975, and she was raised by her mother and her grandmother. But her mom, like, she died when Natalia, like, I guess she was like in her teens, just like Dimitri. And she would often talk to her grandmother and her classmates about wanting to be a doctor. And once she finished high school, she went to medical school in Cuban, like, wherever. I don't know if that was what part of Russia that was. But she eventually worked as a senior nurse, and I guess it was like the sanitation department of Krasnodar. But yeah, there she worked at an aviation school. It was like a military aviation school. And that's also where she met her first husband, and he was an officer. They got along well. They really liked each other, and they had their first son together. And so they got like married and then pregnant pretty quickly. I think Natalia was like 23 when they got married. And not long after she gave birth, her husband passed away. Suspicious. That is suspicious already. That I think that's, now that I know the whole story, I definitely will say that's suspicious. But yeah, he just died from unknown causes, like, just perfectly healthy guy. But basically, to deal with her loss and grief, she drank, and she drank a lot, actually. She also started doing drugs, and, of course, alcohol and drugs combined. Yeah, she probably wasn't functioning, especially like as a mom. So, I mean, she just finally, I guess, stopped caring about anything, especially her house. And I saw pictures, and we're going to show you pictures too. I think there's a clip with pictures, but so she finally stopped caring about anything, and she didn't clean. It was just disgusting. And let's go ahead and show the clip.
The
Let's go
creepy
ahead.
news from Russia's south. Police have detained what is alleged to be a cannibal family. Police told RT that two Krasnodar citizens are suspected of killing and eating up to 30 people. Roman Kasarov has a story.
Two people, a husband and wife, were arrested on murder charges. They're accused of killing and dismembering the body of their drinking companion, a woman, on the 8th of September here in Krasnodar. However, the story is certainly tragic, but here's where the horror starts. Police sources told RT the pair could have killed and eaten as many as 30 people. Here's a comment from the investigative committee.
These people have been detained. The court ordered that they be remanded in custody. A number of forensic examinations have been requested. During the preliminary investigation, incoming information and versions of events pertaining to the suspect's possible participation in other crimes in the region will be verified.
The chilly details emerged when construction workers found a telephone allegedly belonging to the suspect. Now, the workers saw petrifying images of a man posing with a bloody, dismembered body and alerted the police, who launched an investigation immediately. Now, the authorities searched the home of the accused couple, where they made even more shocking discoveries, and those were body parts in some kind of a salty solution, food fragments, and unspecified frozen meat. And experts will now determine whether these are human or not. And also, they found body parts of the victim in the basement of the building. Now, at the moment, the investigative committee team and top experts are trying to determine whether the couple under arrest is connected to any other crimes whatsoever. Now, we spoke to people who knew the couple for the last few years.
I didn't notice anything weird about them. They were polite. He was a construction worker and his wife had been a nurse, but she'd lost her job and drank a lot. The news came as a shock to me. I never had a clue what was going on.
The investigation is ongoing, but there is a suspicion that the couple have allegedly been killing and eating their victims for the last 20 years. Now, all this remains to be confirmed, so watch this space as we bring you more details as they emerge.
Okay, so now she thought that they weren't weird, but anyway, you know, like, did you notice that, Joe? She thought that they were not weird.
Are they weird?
No, like I was saying in the clip, how the lady that they interviewed, she thought that they were not weird. She said that they were nice and they weren't weird. Like
Well,
that they weren't, nothing, basically nothing weird about them. Yeah.
I think there must have been something weird about them.
Yeah, I think so too. So, yeah, I don't really trust her judgment. But
Well,
um
I was being sarcastic when I said, "Are they weird?" Because
oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I missed that. I missed that.
that was my.
Um So basically, Natalia thought she needed help, which obviously from her house she clearly did. So she checked herself into a mental hospital. So yeah, that was probably a good idea because yeah, I don't think she got enough help clearly, but she told the doctor at the psychiatric hospital that they ran some tests, but she just told him that she needed help and that she wasn't thinking right. They ran tests, they came back, and he told her that she was fine, like 100%. So they let her go.
Can I explain that?
Yeah.
All right. She the report I read said that she told them that she felt like she had a mood disorder of some sort, that she felt manic at times.
Mm,
Um, but the deal was that she was sent there for her chronic alcoholism. And
yeah.
when you have a person that's an alcoholic and they're actively drinking and they're not sober yet, it's impossible to tell if they have a true psychiatric condition or if their symptoms are caused by the alcohol, because chronic alcoholism can cause all the same symptoms of a lot of psychiatric conditions. So until she stops drinking for a period of time, we always, back when I was working, it was always a 6 month period. You really couldn't diagnose a person accurately until they'd been dry off alcohol for 6 months. It takes that long for the brain to recover. So,
Wow. Well, they let her go, and one thing I thought like she went to just have it on her record. I mean, like if shit got real, she could just like plead insanity and that would be that, like
yeah, I think that's a motive. It could be a motivating factor. Or she
mhm.
could have just felt like she was losing it, and she was obviously.
Yeah, yeah. But all that for a paper trail.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, no one knows if that's the reason or she thought she I'm sure she was mentally ill, but the drinking, the day drinking, really all the time drinking, it just caused her to get fired from her job.
Right.
Since, it had been, I guess affecting her work. But yeah, for her, it just got worse. And her drinking got worse. So I guess for Natalia, Dimitri was just like the light at the end of the tunnel for her. She was 7 years older than him, but the age difference, I mean, it was really no bother. She immediately told Dimitri that her husband had just died and would he like to move in? Yeah, that's normal. Um, he
And
moved.
Dimitri must have been thrilled. I mean, he only had one significant relationship his whole life before that, and that was his adoptive mother, and she died when he was 15. So, I mean,
Yeah.
any attention that he got at all from a female must have just been overwhelming for him. So, and
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and of course he moved in, and they did date for about, I guess it was about 5 years before they got married. Natalia's son, and he ends up moving out of the house. Not much can be found on his whereabouts. Did you find anything out about her son?
no, all the reports I read just said that he became estranged because of his mother's alcoholism. So
Was that all it was?
maybe they ate him. I don't know.
Uh, yeah. Um, so yeah, his I couldn't find anything on his whereabouts during all this, but he clearly didn't want anything to do with either of them. And someone that knew the family, they said he was embarrassed by her drinking, but my guess it was much more. Um, so
She looks
once
like she would be a mean drunk to me. I don't know. It may just be me, but
yeah,
I think she would start kicking some ass after her hundredth drink or whatever.
I think so. I thought I had her picture up here. Well, I don't, so I can't flash that up there. But so basically, once her son moved out, they decided to move out also because Dimitri was having a hard time finding work. Things had slowed down for him because he's in construction, and he thought by moving that there'd just be new opportunities. And September the 11th of 2017, there is a road crew out working construction, and they could see something on the side of the street. But it was actually a cell phone. And of course, they opened it up and went straight for the photos. I mean, isn't that what we would all do? Oh, who does this belong to? Let's just check out their pictures.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they didn't have to do much scrolling before they saw a man with what appeared to be a dismembered human body parts and was like stuffed in his mouth. I mean, it's like a dead man selfie with like human body parts that weren't even his, and they were stuffed in his mouth. That I do have a picture of. Warning, warning, this is graphic. Close your eyes if you don't want to see. But there it is. And you can see that's like it appears to be like well, I don't know. I guess it could go either way. A man's hand or a woman's hand. I don't know. You be the judge. But yeah, it's like sticking one finger in his mouth. One finger's gone, and one's like up his nose. But
That looks like a man's hand to me.
yeah. Oh, fun.
And don't pretend like you don't have a bunch of pictures of body parts on your phone, Mrs. W. So,
Well, yeah, actually, I have all the ones for the show tonight are on my phone because I had to upload them. So,
that's right.
I hope my phone never gets lost because there will
Yeah,
be questions, I'm sure.
yeah.
Lots of
Mine too.
questions.
Mine too.
Yes.
I think
Especially with our texting and sending videos and stuff, I'm pretty sure there would be like authorities might get involved at some point.
yeah, we would be drug in for questioning.
Yes. Yeah, that would definitely take some explaining to do. So construction workers, I mean, they're construction workers. They're with the guys, they're just doing out and doing their, their thing. And I mean, I guess they expected to see like nude photos or some homemade porn. I mean, they definitely got more of a shock because they were freaked out. And, of course they called authorities, and the phone is taken in for evidence, and that man, it's like holding like a woman's head with her dismembered hand, like or man's hand. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but they just kept scrolling and they found more body parts, dismembered body parts, wigs, lots of wigs. Okay, well, they weren't really wigs. They were more like, it was more like victims that had been scalped, but I guess it could be used as a wig. I mean, it's probably even better than the ones you find in stores because, I'm sure many a lady would love to have get their hands on one of these because, well,
Just do it in
if they're
place.
into wigs because it's real human hair. It even comes with a scalp. So, yeah, good quality. Trust me, I have no idea what is up with the wigs. But yeah, so the SIM card in the phone was removed so they could find out, like, who it belonged to. And of course, it led them right to Dimitri. So I will put this up here for you to take a gander at. There is one of the, let's call it a wig. Let's call it a wig. It's a wig. It's a scalp. I'm
Nice
gonna
color.
call it a wig or a scalp.
It's
That's nice hair.
Yeah, I was gonna say nice color. It
Yeah,
needs
it's a really nice
to be
color.
bleached.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what they were all about. They like to scalp their victims. Why? I don't know. But that's what they did. That's what they were about. Scalping.
Oh, they did more than that, though. I mean,
They did. So would you like to see another photo?
let's see another photo.
Okay. Hi.
Nice.
Like, yeah. He has a slight overbite, but other than that, he has really nice pearly whites, maybe. I don't know.
Are you assuming it's a he? I'm not. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. It looks like a man to me, but I guess it could be a woman.
I see. That's one thing I didn't know is were most of their victims women or men, or were they mixed?
They were mixed. Yeah.
Then you
They were mixed. Yeah. So, yeah, this has a lot of decomposition and stuff. So,
Well, I was just trying to put the wig we just saw on that head.
Oh,
Do you think?
no.
Mhm.
Well, I
Maybe,
don't know. Maybe.
maybe.
Maybe. What do you guys in the viewers, what do you think? Would that be a scalp that would match this head? You know?
I think
Like
it might be, but I'm not sure.
I think yeah, it might be, Joe. You know, they you should have gone to Russia and they should have had you on this case. Um Here's another photo that was found on the, what it could be her hair.
It could
Um
be. That looks like a.
Patriot Corps said Asian male and great teeth. um that's funny. Okay, I'm gonna save the best for last. Okay, but this is what came out of their fridge, and that's more. It's like human fat, human tissue, like skin, and it's all like in this, like a brine. It's like a saline kind of like liquid, kind of like pickled. You know.
Yeah,
Um.
it, they can stay fresh for 2 years like that. I think.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they were stocked and prepped. But in honor of Thanksgiving, the month of Thanksgiving, um, yeah, I saved the best for last. Here you go. This is their celebratory.
Hmm.
Yeah, you see that? It's like a head. Now, keep in mind, this is very sad. Like all these victims. I mean, it's very sad. We're not like, I mean, but this. I mean, I can't. Why do I laugh? I don't know. I think it's the olives stuffed in the eye sockets and the lemon. It's like there's a lemon just sitting on its nose.
I could tell you why you laugh. But
Please don't. Not on the air. Well, I don't know. I
all right.
don't know. Um but yeah, so but you see how, I mean, they garnished it with, I mean, it looks like there's rice. I see rice, and then it's like they have oranges. Um yeah, so
See,
they really
how do you think that was prepared? Do you think that was like a boiled head?
I think probably boiled, I would say
Well, you,
boiled and then put in the oven. And then they probably just, took it out, put it on a bed of rice or like a pilaf, and they probably just stuffed olives in its eyes. And then they just garnished it with, I would have done slices. They did like whole oranges.
yeah. Well, I wonder what happened to the eyes. I hope they didn't eat them because eyes
Mm-hmm.
contain an acid that's will upset your stomach. So
Oh, and Patriot Core, yes, I think they did eat the brains. I think they ate a lot of the body parts because they had, I know they had a place that they dismembered. Oh, Patriot Core said steamed. That's very
mm,
possible. Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, she was a healthy gal. I mean, she probably steamed everything, you know? Like maybe steamed and then I don't know. Yeah, but I mean the fact that there's oranges and it looked festive. I mean she clearly enjoyed cooking, you know. But
Was it her or was it him?
oh, it was her.
It was her.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Um okay, so like what did I say? They brought both of them in for questioning. Okay, so they're being questioned separately, of course. And when they show Natalia, they didn't quite get the reaction they thought they would, because it's like, hey, we found pics of murdered people and dismembered body parts on your husband's phone, and here they are. And Natalia is just like, wow, that's crazy. What? I had no clue. I mean, so they thought it was just so odd. And so they kept questioning her because, I mean, they could tell something wasn't right with her reaction. I mean, she did begin to talk like it was just, even though it was lies, but she did tell them she had Dimitri's phone with her, and then she was walking home. She saw a dead body, so she decided to take some pictures of it. And authorities definitely were not following this story, and they called bullshit pretty quickly. They got access to where they lived, and that's when they realized they had a lot more going on than a phone. And that's when they walked in. There was just trash and clothes, so much stuff everywhere. It was like just stacked in every corner. and they were hoarders. So add that to the list. It's like murderer, cannibals, hoarders. So I mean, these people were they had a lot of issues.
Somebody
But
with OCD.
oh yeah, big time. And it wasn't the good kind of OCD.
No,
I just like everything clean.
right.
Yeah, but you couldn't even tell what the floor or the place looked like. I mean, because there was just so much crap everywhere. And they found like a drawer in the kitchen. You know how everybody has like a junk drawer in the kitchen? Yeah, theirs had like cell phones in it. It was just a bunch of cell phones. And they found like a stack of photographs, and Natalia and Dimitri are like hanging out with different people, and they probably just figured, oh, it's probably just their friends. But yeah, the photos, like one of the photos was like the one I showed you. It was a man's head on a platter, and it was a severed head on a platter specifically, and garnished like we saw, and they were olives like in the eye sockets. But in that photo, the photo that we just saw, it was dated December 28th of 1999. Now keep in mind the year was 2017, when police were searching the house. So it clearly had been going on for a long time. I mean, I can't imagine it's all confusing because, why weren't they caught until now? I mean, it clearly wasn't their first rodeo. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot going on. But they look in the refrigerator. Yeah, I'm sure after seeing these photos, like you go to a cannibal's house and you open the refrigerator. There they found mason jars with like human remains. Some, like I said, were in a saline solution or brine, like they were preserved or pickled or whatever, and it was skin, meat, and fat basically. And it was organized too, which was weird since their whole living space was just like an episode of Hoarders. And there was a chicken breast in there. It was just a single chicken breast just laying in the fridge, and it wasn't even in a Pyrex or a plate.
That was for the
Just
dog.
gross. Yeah. And investigators are like, screw this. Let's just take the entire refrigerator as evidence. And that was probably a good call. 19 pieces of human skin, 7 packs of frozen body parts, pickled remains, photos of people, human body parts, just tons of them. Oh yeah, they found a recipe book going into detail about how to cook with human remains, and it was Natalia's book in her handwriting. So that's how I knew it was her that did the cooking.
That
And it
that right on.
it it was pretty much a cookbook for cannibals, and they did find a videotape tutorial, and it was called Video Lessons for Cannibals. But I don't know, like, because nobody ever said what was on the video. I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, I don't know if it was her or if it was somebody else giving the tutorial. So
I
they
think
went
it was
to
somebody else giving the tutorial.
Oh, okay. So they went to question them again, and she's shown the photographs, and they were just like, mixed, and then some random pics of body parts and stuff. And again, they want her to explain everything. She ended up identifying 30 different people that had been killed and dismembered, and she told investigators that, she and Dimitri had killed and dismembered them and also ate them. And the names she gave to identify the ones in the photographs matched up to people that had been reported missing. So this is big. I mean, she actually did, open up about this, and because honestly, like when I was researching this, I didn't think she was going to say anything, judging from, the stories she gave. She just seemed like she had shut down. But no, whoever developed the pictures, because back then it's like, I mean, they're clearly developed somewhere. But whoever developed the pictures either didn't say shit, or they were developed at home, or somebody else that might have been involved. But my thing is, it's like, I don't think they developed them at their house, because I mean, I don't know where they would have developed them because the house was just as like a disaster.
I don't
But
think either one of them was into photography. So
no. But
you
Natalia,
didn't
she
find
was
photography equipment at their home. So
yeah. But Natalia, she was giving out all sorts of information, and she told them that they had a cellar nearby with more body parts and lots of their possessions too, like the victims' possessions. They seem to decapitate and scalp almost every victim, and I'm really curious as to why, because I mean it kind of reminds me of Ed Gein, and he would wear it, and I don't know what's up with these two, but were they wearing it? Were they selling it? I know, I do know that Natalia was selling meat pies on the side, so see that's the thing. If you there may be like some cannibal ring in Russia. So yeah, be careful what you eat. And certainly don't go to any potlucks in Krasnodar, like just stay away from the potlucks over there. But Dimitri said a lot more than Natalia. He said they were on a dating site, and it's unclear if it was for sexual purposes or just meeting new people. I don't know what they were doing, but I'm pretty sure that's they were just finding victims. But
actually, amongst sexual cannibals like this,
yeah,
it's really weird because they have a distinct pattern that that they start with. But yeah, that's the pattern for sexual cannibals is that they lure victims from dating sites or something like that back to their home, and then they drug them, which is what these two did. So
huh. That's the Vampire of Paris, Nico Clo. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he actually did that too, and it was like the first internet, which in it was in France. It was called Minitel. I don't know if you remember
yeah, it's
Minitel, but yeah, that's how he got the victim. He lured him back to he thought they were going to go on a date. They went back to his house, and anyway, we have to talk about him sometime. It's interesting. But so yeah, Dimitri was getting along with the lady that I guess from the website, and it was going well. I mean, it was going too well. So Natalia just started to get really jealous, and then things got heated. She yelled at them, and she was just visibly, upset. And then she walked into the other room, and this is when Dimitri got out a knife and he just started stabbing this woman. And Natalia saw him attacking her, and she watched but didn't do anything. And Dimitri said that she joined in when she saw him attacking her, and they ended up dismembering her, and of course took selfies with the body parts, because I mean that's what you do if you're gonna dismember somebody. I guess you're gonna people take a selfie for everything.
it's
But
a trophy. It's
yeah,
yeah, their trophy.
yeah. So he was asked about why he scalped them, the victims, and he just said he did something stupid. So, yeah, just did something stupid, just scalped him. It's just stupid. But but I think there was most definitely a reason, and maybe he was, I don't know. Maybe he was trying to protect other people that like if he were selling them or more people were involved, he could have been selling this hair, the scalping stuff. I mean, he could have been they could
I,
have both been selling cuz he wasn't really working that much,
to
you
me,
know?
psychologically, it's probably something he saw or experienced as a young child. We know he was in the orphanage, but I think maybe his alcoholic father was abusive to the mother, and she pulled on the hair a lot. So
Oh,
he pulled on the hair a lot,
yeah.
or
That's
maybe Dimitri got his hair pulled a lot when he was young. But
yeah.
usually, that's what you would think,
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, yeah, well that does make sense. But yeah, both were sent to prison. And Natalia said that, she was not mentally well, and that if they looked at her records, they would see she had mental illness, and that she had been to a psychiatric hospital. So, I mean, she really hoped she wouldn't get sent to prison because of that. But See, remember, Joe, like when I was saying that, we were talking about the what do you call it? The oh, I lost my train of thought.
Oh no,
Um I know. Um
I hate when that
but
happens.
yes, well, so basically she was like blaming the mental illness, like, she
Yeah,
might have been, creating that paper trail. I mean, yes, she clearly had some sort of illness, yes. But she might have been like doing the paper trail,
yeah.
for just to make sure she had one so she could use it if she ever got caught.
I think so, and I do think that she felt that she was mentally ill. I mean, who wouldn't if you had this desire to eat people? Um,
Yeah.
but I think she may have had some mental illness, but she still knew the difference between right and wrong. So
So were they just sitting around one day and one of them decided to hey, I got the munchies. She would just get on a dating site and get somebody and, like, cook them, I
yeah,
mean, is that what they were? I just want to know. I mean, I have so many questions.
I,
Um
okay, I could explain a little bit of it maybe, but and it's only because that sexual cannibals follow a distinct pattern. It's like these people are kind of all have the same mo. They start off with uh, something like voyeurism or
mhm.
S&M, and then they kind of start looking at people like if they're sleeping, that turns them on. So they start watching people sleeping. Then they start fantasize about making the person sleep. And then once they fantasize about making the person sleep, they start thinking about having sex with that person while they're incapacitated. And then it advances into, well, they're going to be dead, and after they're dead, I'm going to have sex with them. And then it advances to, well, I'm going to chop them up and have sex with each of the pieces. Mainly, they're interested in the hands, legs, and or hands, feet, and torso, and head. So
Wow.
it's just like I said, it's been all these sexual cannibals have had a similar pattern of how they got to be where they're at. And obviously, Natalia, I didn't know if you'd seen this in your research, but she had a
Mhm.
grandfather that was a World War II hero under Joseph Stalin, and her grandfather was Konstantin Chanikov. Um,
No.
he apparently, according to a human rights advocate that interviewed her, she said that she had a sexual relationship with this grandfather for a long time. So, she was messed up from from an early age. It wasn't just all of a sudden, but it's hard to tell how much of this alcoholism and drug abuse played a role because that can make you psychotic, and anyone that's psychotic, could become a cannibal if they had the delusions and hallucinations that might lead them to that. So it's just hard
Wow.
to say. But
Oh yeah. Well, I just, yeah, the whole cannibal thing, I don't, I really want to know more about cannibalism though, because it's interesting, I mean, I know there are certain tribes that supposedly still do it, that still eat people, like, but
well, I mean, from the 16th to the 18th century, it was common to use human blood or ground up human bones or flesh or organs or anything like that in medicine. And if you think about it, we're still using those types of things to develop vaccines and other medicines because they're using aborted baby parts. Um,
hmm.
so, and then now there's this big fad amongst women, which I think is really gross. But after they give birth, they're eating the placenta.
I saw that,
Did you
ugh,
see that? Is that not disgusting? Some of
that
them
is disgusting.
are like making it into a broth so that they can feed it over multiple meals, but some of them are just having it specially cooked so that they can eat it in one meal. Um,
Yeah, I saw a TikTok video recently, and some woman had basically cooked her placenta and she was giving it to her husband as a, like, and she's like, "Hey, I made this. What do you think?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's really good," or whatever. And then I don't know, that I feel like that would cause for like grounds for divorce. It was like, you feed me something disgusting like that. I don't know. I'd be like, "Oh, it's over."
right, and
Um,
but there's zero nutritional value to it. Now the advocates for doing that will say, "Oh, well, it's so healthy for you," and all that. That's BS. There's zero nutritional value, so it's just a sick thing to do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I am definitely not down with that.
no.
No. But so Natalia, she ended up she was sentenced to 10 years in a penal colony. And it's a penal colony. Um so it's like a colony,
For penal.
and yeah. And it's basically like you're separated, and you, I mean, it could even be like on an island, or somewhere that's secluded. Like it's basically an exile colony. But yeah, and she was sentenced there for like 10 years. But many cases, like in these penal colonies, there's like abuse, and there's just a lot of corruption by the heads of it. Like they're making money off of them. It's basically like a sweatshop, or I mean, they're the heads of it are using these prisoners to make money, because nobody is overseeing it, because it's, you know, like they're exiled.
Kind
So
of like Kamala Harris in California.
yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Um, so Natalia, she would go there for 10 years, and then she would serve like I guess a year, 1.2 years in prison, like a regular prison. And then Dimitri, he was also sentenced to 12 years and 2 months in a maximum security prison. I think it was also his was more probably like Alcatraz, so he also like had supervision, and he will had treatment by a psychiatrist. I actually think they both needed treatment by a psychiatrist. So yeah, and of course, lucky for us, the photos from Dimitri's phone was released to the media, and that's how like they got out on the internet. So the story, once it got out and the photos got out, like I said, there was a theory that they were a part of like this larger cannibal community within the city, and there was no way they could have killed for that long without getting caught, you know? Which, I mean, it does make sense in the fact that they actually had another location, because she said that they also have a cellar, and this, with dismembered body parts, and so I'm not really sure. What do you think, Joe? Do you think that they were hiding something? Do you think there's still cannibals out there, and then that Dimitri and Natalia took the fall for it? I mean,
Oh, absolutely. I think there's definitely more cannibals out there. Uh, Probably not as many as what we might think, but generally cannibalism's been around for forever. Just it's
mm-hmm.
you know, there's been a lot of different reasons why people turn to cannibalism. Sometimes it's just to get rid of evidence, like we saw in some of the other cases we said. But a lot of times, like I think with Natalia, I think she was supplying local kitchens and diners with meat, because I think she was into revenge, I think, on the people that were around her. And I think she liked knowing that she made other people cannibals. So
Yeah, yeah. Like
she
I
was,
said, I'd
yeah.
be leery of Russian restaurants in Krasnodar, because I mean, especially if they, were storing meat in the freezer, and oh, this is from 2017. It's fine. It was in the freezer, so let's just cook this up for you. It's like, no thanks. But
Yeah, and there's plenty of places to hide in this city, because it's like the sixth largest city in Russia. I think there's several million people that live in this city, so it's not a small place at all. Um, but
wow.
yeah, I think there's a problem there that
Mm,
people are making sure they're not going hungry. So
definitely. Well, unfortunately, I have some bad news. Um,
well,
Dimitri, he died. It was February 16th of 2020, and initially I couldn't find out why he died. Even the lawyer had said it was for, unknown reasons. Like, for some reason, nobody was saying it. I finally found an article, and it said that he died of untreated type 1 diabetes while in custody. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea why he died, but it's just kind of hard to believe.
He wasn't very old.
No. I mean, not that somebody couldn't die of type 1 diabetes. I'm sure they could, but I don't know. I just have a really hard time believing it. Like, why did he die in custody? It's like all of a sudden I mean, my guess is that he either killed himself or someone killed him.
Or they intentionally kept his medicine away from him. So.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah, maybe they didn't. Yeah, because he was in custody and he probably said, hey, I'm on medication. Or when they're like, yeah, we'll get around to it.
Yeah.
So maybe he did just drop dead. I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting. It just seems so unlikely, just because, like, in other words, if he had never been caught, like, and they just were continuing to do this, like,
Yeah.
Does that mean that on February 20th, or yeah, in February of 2020, he would have just dropped dead at some point?
I don't know that. That doesn't seem right. He was, like I said, he was only 35, and if he had type 1 diabetes, he didn't just find out about it that day we got arrested, or
I
the
know.
day he died. So it would seem odd that he would just drop over like that. But I like
Yeah.
these two because they're different than our other killers.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, when you're talking about serial killers like this, you're talking about people with antisocial disorder. But most cannibals are not true antisocial disorder people. They have those types of traits, but they're kind of opposite because antisocial people think they're smarter than everybody else, and these sexual cannibals tend to be people who don't feel like they're better than anybody else, like they're on the lower end of the totem pole. So a lot of their thinking and a lot of their behavior is different than our typical psychopaths. And it seems like I said before, there's specific patterns amongst sexual cannibals, and it's pretty bizarre how they all follow the same pattern. And it's so I don't know what that says. Maybe that says that there's a specific brain disease that causes this behavior, but
Yeah.
strange.
That is strange. So we're running out of time. I was going to say that next Tuesday we're doing a story about a guy that he was kind of in love with a cam girl. So yeah, he's a big time loser. So I think you'll like this, Joe. You're gonna really like that. I don't know if you have researched it yet, but I think you're really gonna like it.
Yeah, I'm a big time loser too. So
Yeah, he was just I'm not gonna say his name. It'll be a surprise, but yeah,
you're not supposed to agree with me.
It's a really interesting case.
It is. I just said I'm a big time loser like this guy, and you agreed with me. So
Oh, of course. No, I didn't know what you said. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Sure.
And of course you're not, because hey.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, is there anything you would like to say before we close out?
No, like I said, I like this couple because they were different than our typical serial killers. I didn't like what they did, of course, but
Right. No.
but they are different than other killers because of their desire to eat people, which is interesting to me.
Yes.
Here we go. Nice.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave everybody with these last images of this one. Yeah. It looks kind of happy though. I mean, but yeah, so we'll see you guys next Tuesday, and meanwhile, don't go to any potlucks, and yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye.